Hello.
Oh, hi! No whistling, right?
Right. Do you know a nurse called Grendel?
Sure I do.
Is she on duty today?
Yeah. End of the corridor, Ward J2.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you?
No,
I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull through.
Whatever you've got with this metal mopfoot is probably a fine and noble thing.
It is. Say, it's not every day I meet someone as crazy as me.
Would this tool be any use to you?
No, sir. Mr. Shiny has no user-serviceable parts. Whatever that means.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's. What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C and a side order of machine oil.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I've washed, if you don't mind, sir. You can pick up all kinds of things in a hospital.
Like nurses, right?
No, sir. Bugs and germs. And fungal infections.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never, ever play with matches.
I know that, but
People get hurt when they do.
sure,
You end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. But if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
What do you think of this, Sam?
Oh, boy. What is it?
A priceless gemstone, found in a medieval castle in Ireland. Get me into Marquet's ward, and it's yours.
I don't wear jewellery.
If this gem was yours, you'd be able to buy 100 Mr. Shinies.
Don't be silly. There's only one Mr. Shiny.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
Oui, monsieur.
Is this Ward J2?
It is, but you're not supposed to be here. We have strict rules about visiting hours.
Can't you make an exception? I've come all the way from California.
You must speak to the doctor.
I can't wait that long. What if he snuffs it?
You can't talk like that here. This is a hospital. You will have to leave.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
I don't recognize it.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Oh dear. I don't think he'll be needing that again.
Who?
Monsieur Boissy, the comatose clown.
Do you recognize this tissue?
No, I don't. It looks like a chronic health risk to me.
Well, I've been carrying it around for days and I'm okay. My pocket's getting a little soggy. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Would you like to shake hands with me?
Well,
No, it's okay. Forget it. I didn't really want to use it on her anyway. Does this mean anything to you?
the Club Alamut? I've never heard of it.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
It's beautiful, but I've never seen it before.
Is this plaster any use to you?
No, it isn't.
You can tell me how my brother is, can't you?
Of course, monsieur. What is his name?
Jacques Marquet.
Let me see. He's satisfactory.
I was told he was dying.
Well, he is, but the doctor described his condition as satisfactory. That's quite an improvement on yesterday.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Thank you, nurse.
You may come back at visiting time, monsieur.
Thanks. When is that?
The second Tuesday of each month.
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
Dr. Stobart at your service. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Excuse me, sir.
You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bunny, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
Do your own babysitting, Gramps. Who do you think you are, anyhow?
I am Felix Hagenmeyer.
And may I say what an honor it is to meet you in person, sir. You are on my medical wall of fame. Right up there with Pasteur and Leary. I look on it as a privilege, no, an honor, to look after your nephew, sir.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
So long, Hagenmeyer. Hey, Benoit.
There's no need to shout. What do you want?
Forget it.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. Well, who's first?
Monsieur Croquet in bed 2.
What's his problem?
He's been complaining of loss of consciousness. You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks. Hi, I'm Dr. Stobart.
Hello, Doctor.
The nurse told me you keep losing consciousness.
That's right. I've had the problem as long as I can remember. It's a real out-of-body experience. Like death, but not so conclusive.
I see. How long does it last?
Just a fraction of a second, and then I recover.
I might not have been a doctor, but I was formulating a diagnosis all the same. This guy was nuts. I know exactly what you mean. It's known in the medical field as blinking.
Is it serious?
Of course it isn't serious. It's perfectly natural.
But just think, 2 seconds every minute. Why, that's almost half an hour every day. 2 weeks out of every year spent in total darkness.
I don't have time to listen to this baloney. Do you know what this tool is used for?
Eye surgery.
That's a dumb thing to say. It's not sharp enough. Do you recognize this red nose?
Nah, I don't.
Have you any idea what this is?
Please, take it away before I throw up.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Nah, Doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer.
One of your colleagues?
No, he really is a murderer.
I've never seen him before.
I thought about giving him an electric shock, but I just couldn't do that to a sick guy. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
Nah, I haven't.
Have you heard of a guy called Merlin?
No, Doctor.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
No, Doctor.
Do you know what this is?
Is it self-raising flour?
No. Do you know what this piece of equipment is called?
No, I don't.
Which bed is Marquet in?
Yeah, he's round the corner, in solitary.
What's the matter with him?
I don't know, but the men who brought him in were wearing masks and rubber gloves. Hey, you're a doctor. How come you don't know?
We doctors don't know everything.
Then how come you act like you do?
Has Marquet had any visitors?
Nah, neither have I. That's the worst thing about being in hospital. You feel like the rest of the world has abandoned you.
Well, you know how it is. Life goes on.
Thanks for those comforting words.
Well, goodbye and good luck.
Thanks, Doc.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
What's his problem?
He's delirious. He just now came out of theater. He's recovering from major surgery.
I'll have him up and about before you can say, Lazarus, get out of your bed and walk. Hello? Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it. Do you know what this tool is used for?
I'd rather not, Doctor. Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Doesn't that belong to Boissy?
No. I found it in a sewer.
He's a clown, you know. You wouldn't think so to look at him now, would you?
Have you any idea what this is?
No, Doctor. I wouldn't even like to guess.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, Doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer.
Really? He's a debt ringer for my bank manager. Of course, Mr. Soames hasn't got a scar, and he doesn't come from the Middle East. His hair's a lot grayer, too. Otherwise, it's just like him.
Remarkable. I thought about giving him an electric shock, but I just couldn't do that to a sick guy. Have you ever heard of the Club Alimut?
I'm not really a nightclub man, Doctor. A game of whist and a glass of ginger wine is about my limit.
Have you heard of a guy called Merlin?
No, Doctor.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
No, Doctor. Is this some kind of test?
If it was, you would have failed. Do you know what this is?
It looks like plaster.
How did you know that?
I'm a plasterer.
I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Why?
I'm a doctor. It's my job. What can you tell me about Marquet?
He's the man in the private room, isn't he? That room was mine before I was tossed out like a common squatter.
Do you know what's wrong with Marquet?
They won't even say what's wrong with me. Tell me, Doctor, what's your opinion?
It's too early to say.
But I've been here for 3 months.
What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
See you later. His temperature was normal, with little fluctuation either way. According to the chart, this guy was called Croquet. The graph showed a steady decline in his pulse rate and an increase in his blood pressure. It kinda shook me to see this guy's life reduced to a few jagged lines. The name on the chart was Boissy. The poor guy's temperature had been up and down like a white knuckle ride. No wonder he looked so sick. Now, I was no doctor, but this guy looked dead to me.
Doctor?
What is it now, nurse?
Number 2 again. He won't tell me what he wants. He says he'll only talk to a man.
Do I have to? That guy's nuts.
Doctor, I'm surprised at you. There's no way to talk about our clients.
Okay, I'll see him. But I'm telling you, he's a hypochondriac. Hello again. Well, goodbye and good luck.
Thanks, Doc.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something. Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Hi, it's me again. See you later.
Doctor,
What is it?
you haven't taken my blood pressure.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later. Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Are you ready with that pressure gauge?
Primed and ready to pump, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Nurse Grendel.
Huh?
Go on, she'll enjoy it.
Well, okay.
Dr. Stobar?
Yeah?
I would appreciate it if you saved your jokes for the intern's restroom. This is a hospital ward, not a cabaret.
Oh, lighten up.
I heard that. Any more nonsense and I shall report you to Dr. Hagenmeyer.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Rene Croquet.
Okay.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Branding mice without bending down.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Don't get cute with me.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
It looks as if it has been used to wipe Satan's bottom.
I hate to say it, but you could be right. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection? No.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No. It sounds Middle Eastern.
Are you Thomas Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No.
Then you won't be needing this. Do you recognize this gem?
It isn't an emerald, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks. Can you think of any sensible use for this plaster?
Sensible? No. Puerile? Yes. But you've probably thought of those already.
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, Doc. Right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks. Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How was the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Don't you think it's possible that the bear was a man in disguise?
Well, obviously, I'm not completely stupid. But who would go to the bother of disguising himself as a bear? It's not as if he'd blend in with the surroundings. I checked with base to see if any bears had been reported missing from the zoo or a traveling circus. They told me to sit tight until reinforcements arrive. I guess they're right. I'd be stupid to tackle a bear single-handed.
Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, Doc. If you see that bear, kick him in the nuts.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you still have that gauge I gave you?
Ah, yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir?
Do you know anything about anthrax, Bunny?
Well, not much, sir. I thought it was virtually wiped out.
Maybe you'd like to put that to a practical test.
Oh, no, sir. Definitely not, sir. Most emphatically not, sir.
I thought so. Underneath that starched waiter's uniform, you are nothing but a worm.
I really must object, sir.
Why don't you run along to Uncle Felix, huh? Tell him you don't mind attending to his patients, just as long as they're only slightly ill. Meanwhile, poor Marquet is up to his neck in some damn cow disease.
Marquet? He doesn't have anthrax. I heard Uncle Felix discussing his case.
It was a test, Benoit, and you failed it. Now, do try to look more like a man who holds people's lives in his hands.
I'll try, sir, but I warn you, I'm hopeless at acting.
See you later.
Right.
Rather you than me, pal.
Another graph, another life. On the top of the chart was his name, Jacques Marquet. I didn't need to be a doctor to read the graphs. Marquet was dying. Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lamar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassins.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster quickly. Tell him that I have found the tripod right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's been taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them?
We've met. What about the Hashashin?
He's more likely to have followed Klausner. He'll stop at nothing to prevent the reforging of the sword.
And that's bad, is it?
As for Klausner, he has gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. Herr Hagenmeier was to hear that.
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah, you showed me.
Can you think of any use for this?
That's a thing for measuring blood pressure, isn't it? What are you doing with that?
I picked it up in the hospital. It could be useful.
You ought to take it back. Don't you feel guilty?
No. Did I show you this tissue?
Yes, George. I asked you to get rid of it.
Have you ever heard of the Hashiashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again. Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Have you found out any more about the Knights Templar?
Yes, I have. The guy responsible for their downfall was Philippe IV, the King of France, otherwise known as Philippe le Bel.
I've heard of him.
Well, he is known to history as Philippe the Fair, but I doubt if the Templars called him that. I'm sure André will tell you all about him.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rousseau or Sergeant Mou? Oh, were you referring to André?
I'll let you work it out.